Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Inside Out Alignment, your platform for self discovery and creativity. Always a pleasure and honor to be here. And as we get into this new episode with a wonderful guest, I want you to not hesitate to check the links on this episode where you find in the description box. Um, the links for the guests where you can find them and to connect directly with them in regards of the message you're going to be enjoying today that is going to be inspiring and really heart touching because it's something that is connected to our daily life. It is part of our being, part of our existence as humans in this world, spiritual beings having this human experience. And this being very important, really being the core of our very existence. I know we are going to be having a wonderful and great time with our guest, Lilia Ackerman, who is the true raw digger, meaning she's a straightforward person with compassion and love. Lilia, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on this set today. Thank you for accepting my invite and welcome.
And thank you, Mary. Thank you. I really appreciate this is a divine encounter. I'm very excited to be here. So thank you for your invitation.
Amazing. Thank you, Sue, for accepting and for being here. Thank you so much. Yeah. So as we get into this, Lilia, I would love you to talk to us a little bit about yourself. You know, maybe growing up and things like that before we get into the other sections of our interview.
A little bit of my personal life.
Yes. Personal, if you want to share, but maybe who you are. I did
Okay.
a short intro, but I would love you to also like say something more.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I born in Mexico City, and I was like the middle of. They say you are the sandwich, because I have brother and sister, um, older than me, and two younger. So I'm right in the middle. And I grew up I born in Mexico City, but I grew up in Merida, Yucatan, which is at that time it was not as big as it is today. So very conservative, religious people, very so. So I moved later on to Mexico, which was very scary because it's like I'm moving here in the States from a small town to New York. Very, very different lifestyle. And then I moved here 10 years ago after my divorce. I was married to my daughter's father, and I was so deeply in love, and I couldn't understand what was happening. My self-esteem was super, 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 super like this at that time. So I allow a lot of abuse, emotional abuse, and I look at the map, and USA was the closest country to run away. So I had one contact only that gave me the opportunity to be at her house for 30 days, and I said yes. So I got my ticket. I had 1 year to prepare, and at that moment, practically I was in the street with my two daughters, and that's a long story, but when people look at you as troublemaker, I mean, I can imagine. At that time in my country, troublemaker is nobody's troublemaker here, you know. And but that's in a way it was very good because if somebody allowed me to be in their home with my children, I won't be here. So it meant sometimes life is it forces us to do something that we wanted to do, but we don't do. So life comes and say, it gives us a little push. So I came to the States, and so I started finding my way out. And well, my daughters grow up very happy here, and they say, "Mom, we thank you so much for being brave and bringing us here."
Mm.
Now I have one 4 grandchildren. And I think overall, the lessons is like I didn't know how brave I was for what I did until I look back. I said, practically just jump, you know, on the cliff. You don't think about it. And so that was a big lesson that helped me um, in 3 years and 3 months ago. I think I was 18, 2018, when I decided to go to school for 3 years and 3 months, non-stopping. And it was, I had like more than 20 years of experience in the wellness industry, but it was like loose pieces.
Mhm.
And I wanted to put everything all together in one big umbrella. And one of the dreams that I had behind it was to go to school. I didn't have the opportunity when I was married. So I gave the opportunity to myself and I did it. So I remember you jump in that time, you didn't know English, you didn't know anybody. You were in the street 30 days after you came, and look where you are. Now you know the language, and just the way you did it when you came to the United States, that's exactly what you're gonna do into school. So it was amazing experience. And here I am. My background is well, I choose the niche of relationships because it was something that I had to deal. I was in a toxic relationship, but then I realized the toxic relationship that it was leading me to other toxic relationships. It was the one I have with myself. So about 10 years ago, I screamed out to God after my second divorce and I asked, so what is love? What is love? What is happening here? So the invitation was to look inside, which it was not the answer that I wanted, you know? I wanted to say, well, because of he or she, or was it me? Why me? So then that's the best journey I ever did to dive into my personal life, what was inside, what was in my DNA, what was going from one generation to the next generation, and start being more aware about me. So here I am. What is your relationship with yourself, with money, and with love? Because when I was preparing all of these programs and when I was working on myself, I realized they are interconnected, very, very interconnected. It's unbelievable the the connection that they have one with another. And at the end, I decided to talk about forgiveness. So this is what I promoting, and I want to help people to be free, to really enjoy their life, to have a meaningful life, to have their life purpose, to find their life purpose, and it's been fascinating being here, being in this journey.
Amazing and inspiring at the same time. I really love the tenacity and your consistency. You know, it's often said, our circumstances, our conditions. Usually, we pay attention so much to that we fail sometimes to look at or to be guided by the spirit that lives in us, by that power, by that truth in us. And you being in that situation and being able to really hone into, taking that bold step, because that is a bold step in that space that you were with your kids, and then having to travel to get out of that. So you're going to start new somewhere
Yeah,
where it's somewhere you've never been before. And that's the only connection you have is one person. That is so courageous. And it's just like, wow. Question is, how did you do that? yeah, you show it. It comes with so much grace, and you being like you were in alignment with yourself and having that clarity and following through, because it's easy to fall back, with a lot going on, learning and everything. And it's okay to you realize that it was okay to you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna fall, but you kept going, you stayed at it, and today you're here, you're empowering other people,
Yeah.
using your story, using and getting deep with yourself and identifying your shortcomings, understanding that it was your limiting belief, your low self-esteem,
Yes.
and then working on that, identifying that, because the first thing for change usually is really honing on ourselves, taking responsibility, and that you did. Taking
Yes.
that responsibility and being able to get out of that space and bring the good out of you. And not only that, you took care of yourself and you're ready and you're out here taking care of other people to empower them, to impact their lives so they know themselves better, they work on themselves and become that person, that woman, that man to be able to fulfill the purpose for which they are here for. And that is so, so amazing. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for really sharing that with us. I love that.
Thank you.
That's what the world needs. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So during that time, um, what are the difficulties that you faced as you went through your training, as you went through that personal development, honing into yourself and trying to understand and getting out of that space of that limiting belief or your self-esteem or the relationship you had with yourself, and letting in and accepting yourself and really being connected to your inner being and trying to and then recreating your life, because you recreated your life coming here in the
Yes.
United States. That's exactly what you did. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yes, of course. Well, one of the paradigms that really woke me up, and many of the lessons that I was learning, practically it was a slap on my face. And one of them, it was whatever you experience in the outside is a reflection from your inside. So it doesn't matter what I try to do, everything started going pointing inside. So many questions started coming up. And I have my personal my life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And also through that, when you say your personal journey, and when you truly want a different life, because I was sick and tired. I was sick and tired of this toxic relationship. I was sick and tired of to see myself in the circle, in the vicious circle. So when you are true to yourself, you stop looking in the outside for answers, and you really say, you know what? Okay, I get it. It's here. So the stuff starts showing up by itself. It's not like you don't even have to to look anymore. It's just one question that you need to ask myself. I said, what can I do? What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
What can I change? Where can I work? What is the area that they need to more attention? And I started being aware of what I was doing, what I was saying to myself, because we have 69,000 thoughts a day. Now, if I want to something different in my life, and I have 10,000 thoughts a day that I want to do something different in my life, and I have 50,000. I mean, like it's talking the old person. I never was going to see anything new. So I think the battle was there from what I wanted to be. I knew, but I didn't want to experience. I didn't have the clear idea of what I wanted because I wasn't familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing for sure is that I don't want this. I don't want this. So one of the things is like I suffered from rejection, and talking with my life coach, it came out all of these issues. So I give permission to myself to be here. And because God played a very important part of my life, at that moment I knew that I wasn't here because my mom or my dad decided for me to be here.
Right.
But it was God that has a plan for me to be on earth. So I became at peace right at that moment, instantly. I became at peace with that. And it's when with the forgiveness, even if I didn't have anything against my mom or my dad, I knew that I have to forgive them for um, for the life that they have us, for environment where I grew up, for the uh, for everything that pretend for them, everything that they did. Now, from that moment, I started taking responsibility. Okay, this is who I am, and I start growing spiritually speaking. So that was my new identity.
Mm-hmm.
Not really stop dragging to see what was in my DNA, which it was good to see. But my new identity was who God is, and then if God is this and God is that, love and compassion and mercy and unconditional love. So this is who I am. This is who truly I am. So now I have something that I can hold on for every challenge that came across, and for the old person to continue wanting to drag me back. Because I mean, many years in a toxic relationship with myself, well, it's not easy to disengage with that person, that lifestyle, that daily thought, the daily stuff, and to remind constantly that the new person that I was. So I started experiencing, feeling. I was paying attention to my emotions. I was paying attention of what I was doing, what I was thinking, and then later on, I start seeing the difference between the peace and love environment that I was creating to myself and the chaos that I was before. So I started noticing when I was going that way. So I remind myself again who I was, and I start walking in the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Only until I became that person. And but that's a challenge. The old person trying to drag you where you were. I think that's the biggest struggle in finding. But once I found my way, and I found forgive myself, because I didn't know I need to forgive myself. I wasn't aware of that either. But then you start like I start making, once I find out certain issue that there was in me, like rejection.
Mm-hmm.
So I always went to the opposite. What is rejection? Which was acceptance. And what was acceptance? So I start digging into those areas.
Mm.
What is the opposite of being toxic? Being in a blissful life. What is so everything that I was finding in myself, I went to the opposite direction. What was opposite to that? And I started working on those areas. So it was good to identify uh, what brought me where I was, to make peace with that, and to go to the opposite. That's the only thing it came to me, because again, when you struggle so much, I was in the prison for women for 10 years. I was a volunteer. So something that I noticed, and every time I asked to the people I was coaching, It was like, if you're not familiar with happiness, because the only thing that you saw in your house, it was a struggle. How, what is your you don't have something that create that environment, because the only environment that you remember is the chaos. And that's what I realized, that the majority of people, they came back repeatedly. As much as they hate the prison, as much as they complain about the food, as much as they complain about the environment, they came back 3, 4, 10 times, lifetime. So why? Because I learned that the brain accept the known, and you reject the unknown, as good as it could be for your life. So I think, to bring the new to your life, to be consistent in that new, and to make it your own, is like the step that we have to follow. So
Right.
once I did it with one issue, the other issue, when it came across, I knew what to do. Realize where it's coming from, accept it, acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want it from there? And I start working consistency until I make it my own. And little by little, it was the light brighter and brighter. And that it started healing the relationship with my daughters, relationship with myself, relationship with the world, relationship with practically anybody. So
Awesome. Awesome. And as you were saying, as since when you were talking, yeah, our subconscious mind is so dominant.
so
And what we've had or we've experienced, being in a culture, in an environment, we've heard and all that is so ingrained in us that it becomes part of us. It's just us. And it's not getting out of that. You have to be really make that firm decision, just like you did, and take it one step at a time, because the dominant nature of our subconscious mind is so easy. It act is so is faster than our conscious mind. We act even before we think about it. We even act most of the time without even knowing what we are doing.
we're
And
living out of.
right, because it's automated. And if you get to that space and not really being acknowledging, as you say, acknowledging, so you can be able to recognize that when it comes up, before then you decide to take, you set that intention, then take an action towards changing that. It's not easy to move forward. And also asking the right question, because the quality of our life is directly related to the quality of questions that we are ready to ask ourselves or to ask in a certain situation. Those things you did. And that is what helped propel you, getting you out of that space, because you decided not to point fingers, but to take responsibility at the same time asking the right questions. And that is really, really amazing. So when you talk to us about you being this straightforward person, when did that start? Have you always been that way?
Well, yeah, I think it's part of my personality. It's part of
Mhm.
my personality, but um, in the society where I grew up, practically there is no room for people that, I mean, at that time. Okay, I don't know, when I go back to my country, to Mexico, to Media, where I grew up, certain things are changing. People are more spoken, but in my time, it was no room for people like me. So you learn not practically to have a different face, but then when I was reading the Bible, it said, don't let your brother walk like a fool. So I think I was like, think it was, well, okay, so if I have somebody in front of me and I know the people are saying, because we see what is happening, and everybody keep it quiet, so I'm being part of that destruction. And so, and when I was doing it when I was in the prison, well, I learned to be a good listener and to speak with compassion, with love. It wasn't I didn't have the full concept of that. Somehow, because my walking with God is in a daily basis.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So there's a voice that constantly is guiding you. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. I'm far away from perfection. But then to speak with that, so I wait for the moment, but I'm a straightforward. And then I tell people, if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you the truth. So think twice. If you want to ask me a question, think twice, because I'm gonna go straightforward. Straightforward meaning, mm, as much as you want to blame your husband in your relationship, I'm not gonna talk about your husband. I'm gonna talk about you, because first the husband is not here, so I cannot talk about him. Even if I know the person, even if I know the husband or the boyfriend or the daughter or whatever, we're gonna talk about you and what I, to question. But I'm shooting, sugar cutting, they call it, sugar cutting. Sometimes you go around and around and around and you never say anything. Well, I'm not really like that. And in my personal experience, I realized when I was pulling the weeds, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts very badly. I mean, I'm here smiling to you right now, but when I was going through the process, literally I pulled my hair, like I cry, and I was angry, and it was the process to finding out all this stuff. So I know that it hurts, but eventually, when you start replacing it, but what really should be there is like a honey in a wool, you know. It feels good. So that's why um, I started a podcast, and I said, "Yo, let's call it for what it is."
Mm.
The world is deceiving us through news, through shows, through programs, through movies. What love is, what life is, what family is, what we be swallow a big lie, a big lie. So once you're out of the box and you're able to see the truth, then that's what I want to deliver, because the truth set us free, and that's in the Bible too, by the way.
Yeah, sure.
So
Sure.
it's like um, it's a good guidance. It's a good guidance for me for life that I'm able to practice. So that's what they call it, the road to digger.
I love that.
The true boy, the truth.
Yeah, coming from that place of love and compassion.
Yes,
And yeah, and that is the key. That's the key. Because at the end of the day, mostly I usually say, um, if if I'm in a relationship with somebody, or if I am a friend with anybody, or any, we exchange, and maybe the person really doesn't, you do everything and the person is just yes, 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 or they just approve everything you do. That's not a relationship, because you want to be somewhere where you are able to tell the person, and the person is able to tell you, oh no, Mary, right here, no, this that you did, it's not okay because of this, and give your reasons. And Mary should be able to be like, you know what, at this point, this is not okay because of that. And that not only strengthen the relationship, but it also brings you, really, it brings you closer to each other, and it builds our self-confidence, and being in that openness of collaborating and looking out for each other as well. Because when it's just like, yeah, yeah, it's okay, or whatever it happens, it's just like, it's flat and it's not interesting. So that is because we are humans with our different personalities. We are so unique in ourselves. But at the same
yes.
time, we all have something to offer to the other person, the other people. When we live it in, so what are we here for? We're here to use those special gifts that we have to evolve and to help others evolve also in their lives. And that's the
Yes.
beauty of relationships. That's the beauty of relationship with ourselves. Even with ourselves, as you sit down at the end of the day and then you reflect. You reflect on yourself, you reflect on the things that you did that day, and then you be like, oh, I would have done maybe better here and things like that. That's growth. That's, being truthful to ourselves and to those around us. And I really love that. So that's why I asked, because I wanted to know more, because I love that. I love that in relationships. Yeah.
But the thing, and I find out in relationship is because many women turn along the way to be the
Mhm.
mother of their husband by telling them what to do,
Right.
like and they you say it like in many countries, Hispanic countries, you hear it say even in here it say mom, the husband start telling mom to their wife. So it creates a lot of problems because you hear this constantly. I have two children in the house, so there is no man and a son or a daughter. It's two children, your husband, and now to see the man try to have sex with the mom, and then they have issues in the bed. Well, yeah, if you are the mom and they see you like a mom, well, it's going to be trouble in bed because you don't want to have sex with your mother, right? So this is like it creates more and more problems uh, because there is no man and a woman, adults
Right.
anymore.
Right.
So
Right.
yes,
And that is so true. That is so true. Somebody once said, "Why do you want to make your man your child? He already has a mother.
exactly.
Recognize that and take your seat as a wife. Your wife, you're submissive, you're respectful. Your husband, you love him, you love your wife, and you know, just if everybody really take the place that we are supposed to take in our relationships, it will be we won't there won't be any problem. It's just that we want to do all, and that is mostly where the problem comes. And then we are so fast into pointing fingers without being able to self-reflect and be truthful to ourselves as well.
Yes,
Yeah. And coming from that place of love, we come from our ego.
yes.
Yeah. And that's a big problem. It's a big problem. Yeah. So talking about love and relationships and even forgiveness, what would you say to someone who is still out there, or maybe they have been unable to forgive not only themselves but even other people? What would you say to them? What message do you have for them to understand the essence of forgiveness, coming from that place of love and compassion, and for themselves and for the other person, right?
Well, when we hold on forgiveness, it is energy connection that we are not allowed to see it,
Mm-hmm.
but to prove it, it could be 20 years in between, 10, 50 years. And when you think about that particular person or incident, you feel sick. You feel like just to think about it, my stomach hurts because that connection is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Second, it keeps you in the past events. So you are not present to yourself or to the loved ones. You're robbing yourself from joy to feeling joy. Third is like you become a judge because in your mind you have the perfect picture how they supposed to pay for what they did to you. So it doesn't matter what, as much as we want to talk about the other person, we forgive because who we are. If the other person deserves it or not deserve it, this is who I am. People with so this forgiveness is the word forgiveness for give, to give, to give. And it's not about forgetting, because I mean, you will be lying to yourself too. Yes, it did happen, but I'm gonna forgive because I want to move on. If
Right.
you want happiness in your life, you need to move on. And move on is not disappear from that person. Is to resolve that issue from your part. The truth is, we never are going to know what led the other person to do what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said before, we are different, we have different backgrounds. I can say something that is very insulting to you because our differences of cultures, but not because I have anything against you. People get offended, especially, I mean, when I came to the States and coming from my country to chew a gum like with open mouth is lack of respect. But when I came here as a teenager doing it, I said, oh my God, my mom will go crazy. And she used to tell me more, a bigger thing, you know? But she said, that's for prostitutes. And when I came, I said, oh, my mom will die if she sees that. That was the truth. That was the truth. And then, but gentle with culture by culture.
Yeah.
You know? So this forgiveness is to be free, to exercise our love and compassion, to connect with our if people doesn't believe in God, their higher power,
Mm-hmm.
to connect with your spirituality, because this is signs are telling me that I'm away from my spirituality. So I'm working from my flesh. I'm working from my ego, like you said before, which the ego has a room in our life, has a purpose. But when the ego is out of control, is when all of these things are happening. So what unforgiveness is about telling me who the thing that my ego is out of control. I'm the judge. I said when and how. I'm in control, and I'm in bondage. I'm a slavery. I'm a slave. So that's what the reason I like to address these areas is because again, it's nothing to do with the other person. Everything has to do. You want happiness, you need to work in your unresolved issues. You want money, you need to resolve your issues. I mean, money. When I say money, is money that is coming from a good sources.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not talking about because I mean, cartel, drug cartel, they have a lot of money. You know, and people who obtain money in a bad way.
Right.
But when we want that abundance, we want abundance because people talk about happiness, abundance, um, freedom, financial freedom. How are you gonna how that is gonna come, and how the world, the universe, life is gonna bring you that if you still a slave
Yeah.
to. I mean, as long as we are in this world, we're encountered in a work, in the churches, in the street, uh, people who are going to do wrong to us.
Oh,
And
definitely.
it's not to us, literally. It's not to us.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the paradigm, whatever you experience in the outside is a expression from the inside.
Right.
So most of the time it's not to you, not to me. It's the fight, the internal war that they have in themselves. It just happened that we were on the way.
Yeah.
As easy as that. I have a workshop that we talk about this, and at the end, I give them a technique that is going to help them because everything is registered in our body, everything in our cells. That's what you mentioned before. Um, we tend subconsciously, we tend easily to be attached to this kind of lie, toxicity, and so that's a lie that the self recognize.
Right.
So we want to change that at cellular level. We want to change like that from darkness to light, from pain to purpose. I was invited to participate in a collaborator group right here with
Leader
and
code. Yeah.
yes. And when I was writing this, the title, from pain to purpose, because when we forgive, we're gonna be able to see a light.
Yeah.
We're gonna be able to enjoy something that we didn't see before, to experience and opportunities. Because opportunities are there, but unforgiveness, it become a shadow. It become a heavy shadow, and it's something that is oppressing us.
Mm-hmm.
So, how in the moment of oppression and slavery and bondage are able to recognize the light? It doesn't. So this is, I bring the awareness that is, again, the workshop is about concentrating in us. So at the end of the workshop, that what I hear from my clients, I wasn't aware about this. I feel so happy. I feel so light. I feel even the person I have applied in to the workshop. He said, I cannot talk about this. He said, it's okay. If you want to talk, if you don't want to talk. But at the end, he volunteered to say, I had this issue with Susan. And then he gave us the whole scenario. Boom. At that moment, he was free.
That's a
He
big
was
relief.
free. He
Mhm.
was free. And that's what we're talking about. Just let's be free.
Yeah.
Let's be free to experience the happiness that you're talking about. That it looks just in the movies. But no, it's to us. It's available to everybody.
In real life. Yep.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the beauty of that, because getting to the root cause of our problem is where the solution we have to, that's where we start getting to the root cause. When you find that when you get to the root, then you can work your way, going into finding the right solution and taking those steps towards that. So what would you say, because sometimes people be like, forgiveness is like people are weak, or sometimes also it's been said, when you forgive somebody, then you have to let that person back into your life. What would you say to that? What is your take on that? Is it a must that if you forgive, or you had an age, or you choose somebody, you still have to let that person in your life? In a case maybe where the relationship is not fruitful, is not one that can be really a collaborative one, where you can have a common ground to have a conversation without being triggered, in a lot of things. So what would you say about that?
When forgiveness, it becomes um, okay. When forgiveness takes over, I forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, through the workshop, we walk step by step to know if you really, that person is forgiven. If
Mm-hmm.
continue triggering you, then it's something that you need to work on. We need to take our power back. I mean, we have to, if we understand that everything happened because we allow it, why the person continue hurting you? Because you are allowing it. Because you are giving the power to this person to hurt you. You don't have protection. And I teach them how to protect yourself. from this to happen. At the end of the workshop, we do know 1, 2, 3. We okay. We forgive our past issues, right? And we work it out. Now, if we have new encounter to people to offend you, by this time you know 3 simple steps to deal with that immediately, rather than to leave it in your system again for another 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the person is in your family, if it's the father or the mother of your children, that's a different story. We do the same thing. We forgive them. We make peace for what we need to work it out. Now the father comes and to pick up the children. We don't need to engage in a full conversation, but the retaliation of the animosity of the bad emotions are going to be gone. Then we're going to see the person like, thank you for coming, pick up the children, and then girls or boy, whatever, but you don't have that heaviness against that person.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the son of a gun is walking in the door, and do you see what he was dressing? And the car, he comes, you are already angry. He goes, you are more angry, because if he or she has a new partner, you're gonna find more and more and more and more what things to be against that person. Now, you don't need to and to engage in a full conversation, but all the stuff that brings every single time that the partner is going to come to pick up the children are going to be gone.
Right.
You give opportunity to the children to enjoy the father, the other part that is very important for them. Now it could be a relative. Okay, it's Christmas and everybody's going to be there. You already forgive that person. The person approached to you. If the person has issues against you, you already forgive them in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
You immediately you have to remember the step that I teach on what to do. If the person continue in not very friendly conversation, I say, Johnny, I apologize, but I promise to help in the kitchen, and I'm gonna do it right now. But talk to you later, okay? So you walk away in peace and love. Oh my God, here we go again, and this. Why? Because you're gonna remember
Mm-hmm.
the paradigm is the war that this person has inside.
Right.
There's a different scenario is France. We gather together and you encounter a person who offended you before. You already did the work. You have nothing to do. And the person will start throwing stuff at you. Because most of the time we talk indirect, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
sarcasm or stuff like that. And in your heart, you remember again. Has nothing to do with you. But then you can be bold. And then I said, in front of everybody, Lucy, whatever is in you that is bringing you these things against me, I'm going to ask you to please, you need to stop. And before I allow you to talk to me like this, but not anymore. So if you are not using respectful words, so I'm going to ask you to please stop. But in that moment, we need to be strong, direct, right. Because if we keep it quiet, the person never, when we truly feel it inside, you can speak 2 words and the person is going to understand. Because inside, you are a strong, solid person that know that you are not allowed disrespect, people being disrespectful to you.
Right.
So every situation it has, but from us on our part, it should need to be sure. Did I truly forgive this person? Do I have issues with this person? Because then it become a barrier. They call it uh, emotional noise.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional noise. I say one thing, the barrier is here. You hear different thing, totally different from what I just said. So it's a constantly checking for us. Am I truly at peace with that person?
Right.
And to wait for that answer. I teach them a meditation. I just give them an example because the invitation is to ask the question that are coming to you, to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mary to Mary, Lilia to Lilia.
Right.
Because if we continue just listening meditation, the information is coming from the outside. And that never worked because somebody is telling you what to do.
What to do.
Yeah. So I just give them an example, and each of us need to find out our true meditation,
Mm-hmm.
our true questions. But I give them plenty of material,
Oh, sure, sure.
plenty of material.
Mm-hmm.
Like when my father's daughter left the house, and I remember my little one came to me and said, "Mommy, I'm gonna behave. Ask Daddy to come back." I was shocking. It was shocking. It was hurtful to see my little one blaming herself because the reason she thought the father, the reason it was her. So at that moment, for the love of my daughters, I didn't. I knew that I didn't have no right to take the father from them. They deserve to have a father. So I passed that forgiveness immediately. I didn't even think about it because
Mm-hmm.
love, love at that moment, it was bigger than anything else. So as painful as it was to know that he was with another woman, that one woman got pregnant, as painful as it was, that the love for my daughters, it was bigger.
Sure.
It was bigger. So if you need to know, he lives in the same house with my family. So when you forgive, you open room for a very beautiful life.
Right.
So,
Amazing, amazing testimony right there. And where can the audience find you?
well, Facebook and Facebook, Lilia Ackerman. But if they go to my page, I used to have them direct to my business page.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, like I like to travel, and
Oh,
I like to I want them to know who I am as a person, not just as a coach. So I invite them to my personal page, and
okay.
then from there I invite them to the business because I want them to see the other side of the coaching,
I
the
see.
coach that is in there, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the one who has the same issue like everybody. We the resistance way that we go in our daily life, and how can we enjoy abundance, because abundance comes by itself when we are walking on the right track. So Lilia Ackerman is a picture. I try to, I don't know, you can see that. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Let's just
Mm-hmm.
say Lilia Ackerman. I should,
I
and
think
this is
I have
honor,
I have it here, right? I'm gonna put
yeah,
it in the description box, so that should be easy.
honor
For
at life transformation. That's what I love, life transformation, because that's what I do.
yeah.
Tell me what you want.
Okay.
We're going to get it together.
Love that. Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, what last word do you have for the audience today before we separate?
Oh my God. The last word will be everything that you want, everything, everything that you have in mind, your life dream, your life partner, your dream partner, your dream relationship is there. Just take it. It's yours. It is yours. And I can find you. I can help you to find that. That everything is available to you. Money, love, happiness. Three important things in life are already yours. Be brave, seek inside, and enjoy.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. So we
Welcome.
come to the end of this episode. It's been really inspiring and very touching and getting into the things that really matter to us for our daily lives. That's how interesting it's been today. So, as I said at the beginning of this episode, you're going to have the information to get to Lilia in the description box of this episode. So feel free to reach out to her for any questions and to attend one of our workshops, so you can have that beautiful experience. And we're gonna be parting ways, but we will be meeting back soon. So make sure you listen to this episode. Make sure you leave some comments. Make sure you ask questions, and let's stay connected. Keep making your life great, keep making more self-discovery, discovering more of who you are, and go for whatever you feel that or that you feel strong for, your longings and your discontent. Pay attention to those because you are here for a reason. Don't dim your light, let it shine. Take care and bye for now.
That was very beautiful.